Hi, I'm Beth, and I'm here with a holiday project for you today. And we're making these 3-hour tote bags that are so cute to dress up gifts for the holidays. So we're using the Winterland collection from Northcott, and we've laid our 6 strips out in the way we'd like them to appear on the tote. So we'll sew our first 2 strips together. We're using a 1/4 inch seam. Once you've sewn the first strips together, then you can continue adding strips to your strip set. Once you've sewn all your strips together, press the seams in one direction, and then we're going to subcut these into 10.5 inch segments. Next, you'll take your 4 pieces and you'll take a set of 2 and then stack them on top of each other with the short edges aligned and sew the short edge a 1/4 inch seam. So you'll do that with both, and this will create the bag front and the bag lining. Once you've joined those pieces and pressed the seams in the same direction as the others, then we're going to layer it for quilting. So we'll want one side face down, then we'll put our batting piece in the middle, and then our second piece face up, so we're making our quilt sandwich. Then you can baste that using your favorite method with spray basting or pins. Next, we're going to quilt the bag. So you can do this with a free motion design or a straight line design, which is what we're doing today. So we are using this Coats & Clark cotton covered machine quilting and piecing thread. And this is really nice thread because it's polyester core for strength, and then it's coated in cotton. And we've switched it out for a light blue color to really accent the bag. So we've switched out our regular foot for the walking foot. This helps feed all the layers through evenly. And we're just going to do some straight stitching right along the seams. Once you've quilted the whole piece, then you can trim it up to square, and then we're folding the piece in half with the lining side on the inside, and we're going to do a French seam along the sides of the bag. So I would leave your walking foot on because you're going through a lot of layers here. So we're using a scant 1/4 inch seam for this, and we're starting with a leader strip just because, again, it's going through a lot of layers, so sometimes that can really help you get a smooth start. Once you've sewn down both sides, you'll trim to a scant 1/8, and then we're going to turn the bag lining side out. Once you've turned that lining side out, then we're going to stitch along that same edge a 1/4 inch, and that will enclose those seams to create a French seam. To give the bag depth, we're going to box the corners. So you'll grab the bottom seam and the side seam and match those up, which forms a triangle at the bottom of the bag. And then we'll measure down 1 3/4 inches from the point and make a mark. And then you'll draw a line across, and that's going to be a 3.5 inch long line. We'll do that on both corners and then sew across the line. Once you've finished sewing on the line, then we're going to trim that to a 1/4 inch. Once you've trimmed, then turn the bag right side out. Next, we're going to make the ruffle. So take your ruffle strip, and on each short end, fold under a 1/4 inch and press. And then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and stitch that down. Once you finish stitching, then fold it in half wrong sides together, and press. So we've set our machine to a long stitch length. We've got it at 5. You want to have long thread tails for this, so give yourself a little extra, and then a scant 1/4 inch seam all the way down the raw edges. And we're using a heavy duty thread in the machine, and this is a dual duty XP from Coats & Clark. It's a nice strong polyester thread. Again, on the end, leave long thread tails. You'll be using that to gather. And grab the bottom, the bobbin thread, and then pull that thread to create the ruffle. Gather your ruffle until it's 1 inch larger than the circumference of your bag, and then overlap the edges, the finished edges at the back center of your bag, and then pin your ruffle to the top raw edge of your bag. And then you can adjust the ruffles once you've got them pinned a little bit in place. Then you can just kind of adjust if you've got more fullness in spots. So we have the ruffle pinned to the bag, and now we're going to stitch it down. So this is a good time to take off your accessory tray if you have one, and just go with your free arm, because then you can slip the whole bag right over it. Next, we'll make the handles. So we'll take our 42-inch strip and cut it in half, so we have 2 21-inch long strips. And then on each long edge, fold under a 1/4 inch and press. And then you'll fold that all in half, wrong sides together, and press that. Then we'll take our strip of batting and tuck it under one of the 1/4 inch folds on the edge. To close the handle, we're stitching 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Now that our handles are complete, we're going to pin them to the bag. So put them inside the bag and make sure you don't twist those. And then we're aligning about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the side seam. And then we'll pin that. Okay, and we've got our other one. And then do the same thing with the other handle on the back. We're using our free arm again, and we're going to stitch just over those handles with a scant 1/4 inch seam. Next, we'll bind the top of the bag. So we're taking our remaining strip, and we've folded a 1/2 inch under on the short edge, and then fold it in half wrong sides together, and then we'll stitch it to the bag on the top raw edges. Be sure to leave a couple inches free at the end so you can tuck the other end in when you get around to that side. Once you get back to where you started, you can trim off the excess and then tuck that into the front part of your strip where you started. And then finish sewing through all the layers. Once you've machine sewn that binding on, you'll turn it to the lining and then hand stitch that down. We like to use Coats & Clark hand quilting thread. It's coated so it tangles less while you're hand quilting. Once you've hand sewn the binding, you can pull the handles up, and then we're just going to do a little stitch across the handles to hold those in place. We changed our thread to a light gray to match the binding so you won't see the stitches as much. And our tote is complete. It's so cute with the little ruffle, and you can get it done in an afternoon. If you'd like a similar look without all the piecing, try a fabric like this that has pre-printed stripes on it.